There's a country in the heart of Europe where castles rise above forests like mirages, where entire towns look painted by hand, where hidden stone kingdoms feel almost invented, and where some villages seem untouched by centuries. Most travelers only know Prague, but the real wonder begins far beyond it. This is the Czech Republic, and it may be Europe's most overlooked fairy tale. Today we're leaving behind the obvious to uncover a land of forgotten castles, hidden Bohemian villages, stone labyrinths, vine-covered hills, and places so surreal they barely seem real. And trust me, one of these places may completely change how you see Europe. Prague before the crowds. Before the city wakes, Prague feels enchanted. Morning mist hangs over the Charles Bridge. Cathedral spires catch first light. Cobbled lanes echo with centuries. At dawn, the city feels suspended in time. Not crowded, not hurried, just magic. The Vltava River flows quietly beneath ancient arches. Centuries-old statues stand watch in silence. Somehow, the weight of history feels lighter here, more intimate, as though the city is sharing secrets with those who arrive early enough to listen. Street lamps still glow softly against the stone. Church bells begin their morning call. And for a brief moment, you have one of Europe's greatest cities almost entirely to yourself. It's easy to see why many call Prague Europe's fairy tale capital. But surprisingly, this is only the beginning. Because hidden south of Prague lies a town so beautiful it almost feels fictional. Český Krumlov. A river loops around red rooftops. A castle rises above old streets. Church towers pierce the sky. Welcome to Český Krumlov, a place so impossibly charming, it hardly looks real. The Vltava curves through the town like a protective embrace. Medieval architecture crowds narrow lanes. Every corner reveals another postcard moment. At dusk, lanterns glow over stone alleys. Music spills from medieval taverns. Locals gather in small squares where fountains have run for centuries. The castle complex looms above, a sprawling monument to Bohemian aristocracy. Inside, frescoed halls tell stories of nobles and artists, of power and intrigue, of a world that valued beauty as much as strength. And for a moment, you feel centuries disappear. Walking these streets feels less like sightseeing and more like stepping through a portal. Time moves differently here, slower, gentler, as if the town itself refuses to be rushed. But the Czech Republic has a wilder side few expect. And what comes next doesn't look like Europe at all. Bohemian Switzerland. Here, nature built cathedrals, towering sandstone walls, forest canyons, secret ravines, and the colossal Pravsek Gate, an arch so dramatic it seems mythical. This is Bohemian Switzerland, and it feels less like hiking, more like wandering through legend. The formations rise like ancient sentinels, carved by wind and water over millennia. Each turn reveals new wonders, hidden gorges, moss-covered boulders, streams that disappear into stone. Trails wind through corridors where rock walls tower overhead. Light filters down in golden shafts. Birds echo through chambers that feel cathedral sacred. Some call it Europe's hidden fantasy kingdom. And honestly, that doesn't feel exaggerated. Because walking beneath Pravsek Gate or threading through the Edmund Gorge doesn't feel like exploration. It feels like discovery. Like you found something that was never meant to be found. A landscape that exists outside the normal rules of European geography. Quick question. Would you rather wander a fairy tale town or explore a lost stone kingdom? Tell me below. And if you love hidden places like this, subscribe and keep exploring. But one Czech wonder may be stranger than all of them. Kutná Hora and the Bone Church. Then there's Kutná Hora, beautiful on the surface, but hiding something extraordinary. This medieval town grew wealthy from silver mines. Its Gothic cathedral rivals Prague's finest. Its streets wind through centuries of merchant prosperity. But beneath the charm lies something darker, something unforgettable. A chapel adorned with human bones, chandeliers, altars, decorations. Built from history itself, the ossuary holds the remains of over 40,000 people, arranged with artistic precision. Skulls form garlands. Femurs create pyramids. Entire coats of arms constructed from human remains. It's a meditation on mortality, a confrontation with what comes after. Mysterious, beautiful, unsettling. It may be one of Europe's most unforgettable hidden wonders, and almost nobody expects it. The contrast between the serene town above and this underground reminder of our shared fate creates a tension that stays with you long after you leave. But the next wonder is softer and just as unforgettable. Moravia, vineyards, and hidden villages. Then the landscape changes. Rolling vineyards, quiet wine villages, pastel chapels, golden hills. This is Moravia, and it feels worlds away from castles and stone kingdoms. Here, life moves to agricultural rhythms, harvest seasons, planting cycles, generations of families tending the same soil. In old cellars, wine has flowed for generations. Winemakers speak of terroir with reverence, of grapes that carry the taste of limestone and sun, of traditions passed from grandparent to grandchild. At village tables, local cheeses, hearty goulash, fresh dumplings, warm pastries. Travel becomes something you taste. Each dish tells a story of winter preservation techniques, of festival celebrations, of recipes refined over centuries. The villages themselves seem painted in pastels, yellows and blues and soft greens. Houses decorated with folk art, gardens bursting with flowers, church steeples rising above red tile roofs. And here, wonder feels quieter, but no less magical. It's the wonder of continuity, of traditions honored, of a slower pace that modern life hasn't entirely erased. And then, a castle straight from fantasy, Karlstein in the mist. High above wooded hills, Karlstein appears, like a fortress dream. Turrets in clouds, stone walls over forests, built by Charles IV in the 14th century to guard the crown jewels of the Holy Roman Empire. This wasn't just a residence. It was a sacred vault, a place where earthly power met divine right. The castle rises in tiers, each level more fortified than the last. The Chapel of the Holy Cross once held treasures beyond measure. Walls covered in semi-precious stones, paintings by medieval masters. A space designed to inspire awe in all who entered. At sunrise and mist, it barely looks real. The castle emerges from clouds like something conjured. Forests stretch endlessly below, and for a moment, you understand why medieval people saw divine presence in architecture. This is the medieval Europe people imagine. And somehow, it still exists. Not as a ruin, not as a reconstruction, but as a living monument to an age when castles weren't quaint. They were essential. But one final hidden wonder may be the most surprising of all. Agspach Rock City. Imagine a city built of stone, by nature, towering rock corridors, labyrinth passages, silent lakes, ancient formations rising like giants. This is Agspach, a geological marvel that feels almost deliberate in its design. The sandstone pillars reach skyward, some over 50 meters tall, weathered into shapes that defy simple description. Mushrooms, towers, faces, forms that shift depending on angle and light. Paths wind through narrow passages, where rock walls press close on either side, opening suddenly into clearings where emerald pools reflect stone and sky. Agspach doesn't feel discovered. It feels secret, as though you've stumbled upon a place meant only for those who seek it. The atmosphere is almost reverent. Sound behaves strangely here, amplified in some spaces, muffled in others, creating an acoustic landscape as unique as the visual one. And walking here feels like entering another world, maybe even another age. A time before humans, when nature sculpted continents with patient, relentless force, when stone was still soft enough to shape, when Europe looked nothing like it does today. Maybe what makes the Czech Republic unforgettable isn't one wonder. It's the contrasts: fairy tale cities, wild stone kingdoms, haunted chapels, hidden vineyards, castles in the mist, ancient rock labyrinths, villages where time slowed but never quite stopped. It surprises you, Again and again, each region offers something completely different, from the cosmopolitan energy of Prague to the pastoral calm of Moravian wine country, from the Gothic intensity of the Bonn Church to the natural majesty of Bohemian Switzerland. The Czech Republic doesn't fit one narrative. It contains multitudes. Centuries of history layered like sediment. Germanic influences mixing with Slavic traditions. Catholic grandeur alongside folk simplicity. Medieval fortresses standing watch over forests that remember pagan rituals. And maybe that's true wonder. Not what you expected, but what you never saw coming. The moments that stop you mid-step. The places that make you question what you thought you knew about Europe. The experiences that remind you why we travel in the first place. To be surprised. To be challenged. To discover that the world is always stranger and more beautiful than we imagine. This was just one glimpse of the Czech Republic's wonders. There are more castles to explore. More villages to discover. More trails through impossible landscapes. More cellars where wine waits to tell its story. Join us on the next adventure, and let's keep exploring. Because every journey reveals that the map is never complete. That wonder waits in unexpected places. And that sometimes, the greatest discoveries happen when we venture beyond what everyone else already knows.